told him that it wasn't just you saying you brought a dumpster. I physically saw the dumpster out there on site while I was there. And, he was like, well, I'm not paying for this plumbing vent. And I'm like, I saw John replace that plumbing vent. It needed to be replaced because of X and Y reasons. I don't even remember now. So that's why you're paying that out. And did you see he paid out $640 or $680 for that PVC?
Yeah, I sent that to my plumber. I was like, by the way, this is what the insurance pays when a roof vent has to be moved.
That's insane, isn't it?
Because he was telling me he would do it for about $450, and I sent that text to the estimator, so they put in a bid item for a plumber of $450. And it was, I was like, huh. But yeah, so you, even all the way up to the very end, you were thinking it was not going to work out like we were hoping, and in some way it'd be short.
Yeah, that was kind of in the back of my head. But at the same time, in talking to the guy and while I was arguing our points and what should be paid out, he was seeming like he was understanding and that he was reasonable. He obviously started the conversation with, screw you, I'm not paying anything else, and your roofer's being greedy. And I was like, okay, well, what about this square footage you missed? And what about this dumpster that we had to have on site? And what about this plumbing vent that he changed?
Mm-hmm.
And several of those other items that I'd gone through earlier that day and, rifled through all the old emails and conversations and everything and made a big list. And then he was like, okay, well, looks like, we have some things to pay out now. It's like, okay, well, then why don't we just start the conversation that way? It could have saved us all 30 minutes of haggling back and forth.
Which is why our process is so unique in that we empower the homeowner, like I did with you and coaching, because you'd see them, to help you out with how busy your life is. There's a couple times where I sent the insurance information for you. Like when that one adjuster was saying they don't have to pay for the decking because you don't have code coverage in the policy. And then you looked at your declaration documents, found the ordinance and law coverage, and then sent me the screenshot or whatever. And so I sent that in for you to the insurance. And they just stonewalled me as your contractor every time, even though I was including you in the emails. And my email started off with, hey, Mr. really busy, but asked me to send you this proof for him.
Yeah, no, they just flat out did not pay attention to you. That's crazy, man, because most homeowners don't understand what can and can't be paid out, just like I didn't. And so when they get a bill from you, they're not going to understand that they can still go back to insurance. Well, they're probably going to call them and say, hey, I got this bill from my roofer, and then the insurance people are going to do like they did me, tell me to screw off.
Yep.
Until I'm able to dive in deep enough and spend enough time figuring out what the legalities of everything are to be able to tell them, hey, no, you actually have to pay these things out.
Yeah, Allstate and State Farm will actually straight up tell their homeowner in writing, your contractor's being greedy and unreasonable. Here's a list of our preferred partners who will actually do the right work for your house and aren't trying to steal from us. And it's like, excuse me? You've been through the whole process now, and State Farm and Allstate are worse than your carrier was in that regard. We saw last year 3 of our Allstate homeowners, the adjusters get to this point where when the homeowner sticks to defending what their policy promises and what the laws are in the area, the adjuster will turn around and respond to the homeowner's proof of additional reasonable needs for their loss. And the adjuster will respond back in all caps using exclamation marks saying, we have already discussed this claim and written a fair and reasonable estimate, and I'm done having this conversation. This will be the last email. Your claim is now closed. And
I got that email 3 times.
Because with yours, remember how many times I kept saying, this is weird, this is what Allstate says, this is exactly copy paste their bullshit?
Yes.
Usually your carrier's not that way, and I was like, what on earth? But it's also getting more and more that way across all the carriers because they're all having to pay out more than they anticipated. But yet, guess what? Allstate for Q4 last year reported record profits.
Wow.
They're acting like they're getting screwed, but at the same time, they are reporting massive profits. And I'm like, you're not really hurting. Y'all want to try and say you are? It's a lie.
They're just greedy and want more money. That's the bottom line. And obviously I understand that, but we have a legal thing going on here where I have a policy and you have to uphold that policy.
Yeah, and they don't want to pay for
So-
building codes and different things. And it's like we even wrote the building inspector, had it put in writing, like
Right.
these are what this has to be followed. And then that was after the adjuster said, I'll pay for this if you have code coverage with the decking. And then he's like,
Yeah.
no, you got to prove that it's enforced. And so then I wrote the building inspector, and they replied back saying, yes, it's enforced. And then he still wouldn't pay for it. That adjuster, we lost 3 or 4 months, maybe more, with that adjuster just being an asshole. Like
Michael,
I even
Yep.
showed you how to schedule and program the email so that like 3 days a week he was getting an email going like, this is my 4th email to you about this. This is my 5th email about this. My 6th email about this. Before going, all right, it's time to go ahead and escalate this. And then when you escalated it, boom, another percentage of your stuff got paid, but not everything.
Right. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. I am so glad that we can finally put it behind us. I mean, let me think here. Was it end of April or beginning of May? End of April.
March 7th is when your claim got filed first with that other roofer who knocked on your door and tried to say that your blistered shingle from the bad ventilation was hail damage, even though there was no dented metal on the roof anywhere. And you got a full denial for hail damage despite a limb hole through the roof that nobody saw. How are you a roofing salesperson and present yourself to the public as a roofer, and you get on the roof and you don't even do a thorough enough assessment to find the hole in the roof that I found within 10, 15 minutes of us getting on the roof together the first time. And even more so is like when there's shingles missing or a hole in the roof, and other roofers have been before me, and none of the roofers before me actually did anything to help their freaking customer by tarping the hole.
Wow.
I went to 2 homes yesterday where a couple of roofers had been out, quoting, work for the homeowner before me. And there's huge holes in the roof, and I'm the first one who's tarped it. And I'm like, what the hell's going on, guys? But I love how that other roofer knocked on your door, didn't really know what he should be looking for, didn't find the hole in your roof, didn't do anything to protect you with that hole in the roof, and helped you file a claim in a way that didn't do anything for you, where you got a full denial of coverage.
And then the roofer goes to me.
Wow. Wow. I mean, at least you had family and they referred me to you, and we showed up.
Right.
And it was kind of funny how I was like, how about we just start this off by respond to his denial letter with these three pictures of the hole in your roof and ask, is this covered by my policy? And they wrote for a repair. And then we went from the repair to identifying the material. And then we identified the material as currently produced, brought the shingle out to the house to show it would not provide the state required reasonably uniform appearance. Boom, full roof. Although we were at like, what, $6 or $7 grand at that point.
Yeah, it was like 62 or 300, I think.
And then we're closing out at 29.
Yeah,
but
that to me is insane.
And what I think is insane and sucked is like how much trouble they put you through. But even though you were like you were saying you were like not sure if this was going to work out, but you still trusted me and followed the coaching. How freaking cool was that every time we'd get them a little closer.
Yep.
Right after they were saying, no, we absolutely don't owe for this, that, or the other. That's unreasonable. Oh, a little bit more proof and clarity for them, and what do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, you do pay for this.
The only thing I hate about the process, well, obviously it's just a pain, but I wish this was all condensed into like 1 month or a couple weeks or something, because since everything was spread out so far and the emails were, sometimes a couple weeks apart because they weren't replying, like I would have to relearn the whole thing myself. Mm-hmm. Go through, see what's been paid out, see what, look at my conversations with you and what else needs to be paid out, and then make a list basically, and with footages and with dollar amounts and with all these different things showing proof and code coverage and all this crap. So every single time, like every 4 or 6 weeks, I had to have a hard phone call or a long email. I was having to spend, 3 hours beforehand. All right, let me wrap my brain around this stupid roof one more time to see if we can get this paid out.